gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
Hello everyone! It's now been more than a month since the Vivo X Fold 6 launched, and I deliberately waited before making this video. Instead of rushing out a first-look review, I wanted to spend some real time with the phone and see how it performs in everyday use, without any filters or first impression bias. With a starting price of 7,999 yuan, which is roughly £889 in the UK and around $1,177 in the USA, along with some impressive specifications, the phone certainly looks like an attractive value. But specifications only tell part of the story. With a foldable phone, what really matters is how that folding display and overall design feel in real-world use. So today, I'm going to share my honest experience after using the Vivo X Fold 6 for a while. There have been some pleasant surprises, along with a few small things that disappointed me. Let's go through everything one by one.
A quick shout to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out our exciting tech content.
Let's begin with the design. I went with the black version, which features a glass rear panel combined with a metal frame. Overall, the phone has a premium feel, but there's one design detail I noticed. The back panel and the middle frame don't sit completely flush with each other, so the transition feels slightly abrupt. When folded, the phone is roughly as thick as my iQ15, so it's still quite comfortable to hold in one hand. Once you unfold it, the thickness drops to just 4.4 millimeters, which feels impressively slim to me. The phone weighs around 230 grams. It isn't the lightest foldable on the market, especially compared with some of the newer lightweight models, but for a foldable device, I still think the weight is quite reasonable. That said, I'm not a big fan of the camera module. It's simply too large for my liking. When you place the phone on a table, the oversized camera bump causes the device to wobble. The edges of the camera module also don't feel particularly refined, and they can feel a little rough when you touch them. The side buttons are another small issue. They're quite shallow, so when you're using the outer display, it can take a few attempts to locate them by touch. The volume buttons also feel slightly loose. There's another thing I noticed when the phone is completely unfolded. The display doesn't automatically sit perfectly flat across the entire surface. You need to manually pull it down slightly to fully flatten it. The hinge is also something I think could be improved. Its damping is fairly soft, which makes it difficult to keep the phone positioned as a stable stand when you want to watch videos. On the positive side, the water resistance is quite impressive. The phone comes with IPX8 and IPX9 ratings, which is a strong level of protection for a foldable device. For normal, everyday use, you shouldn't have to worry too much about water exposure. Now let's move on to the display. First, we have to talk about the crease, because that's probably one of the biggest concerns with any foldable phone. In my experience, the crease control here is only moderate. When the screen is turned on and you're looking at it from a normal angle, the crease isn't too distracting, and it doesn't have a major impact on the viewing experience. However, things change when you look at the display from the side or under strong lighting. In those situations, the crease becomes much more obvious, and it's difficult to ignore. Putting the crease aside, though, I think the display itself is excellent. In fact, I'd say it's quite impressive. Even though the inner and outer displays come from different manufacturers, the consistency between them is very good when it comes to brightness, colors, and refresh rate. The inner display measures around 8 inches and uses Samsung's display material, while the 6.5-inch outer screen comes from BOE. The outer display delivers a very sharp and clear image, and both screens support a smooth 120 Hz refresh rate. The only part that may require a little adjustment is the aspect ratio. It's slightly narrower compared to what you normally get on a traditional slab-style smartphone, so it can take some time to get used to. Moving on to the software and performance, Orange OS 6 has been quite dependable in my everyday experience. I haven't experienced any obvious lag during normal use. The animations feel smooth, and background app retention is also pretty solid. My particular phone has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and it's capable of switching between more than a dozen applications without putting too much strain on the device. But the feature I really want to talk about is Atomic Workbench, or Vivo's split screen functionality. I do find this feature useful, but I wouldn't say it's something you absolutely cannot live without once you've tried it. There are certain situations where it genuinely makes things more efficient. For example, you can use it while reading documents and responding to messages, ordering food, watching videos, or comparing prices between different shopping platforms. Being able to handle multiple tasks on a single display is definitely convenient. However, the overall operation can feel a little complicated. There are serial modes, parallel modes, and different gestures to learn, and all of that can make the system somewhat confusing at first. So in my opinion, it's a useful feature once you understand how everything works, but I wouldn't call it essential. There are plenty of other ways to accomplish similar multitasking tasks.
Let's take a quick look at the gaming performance. The Dimensity 9500 Super Edition processor is easily powerful enough for everyday titles such as Honor of Kings and PUBG. But where a foldable display really shows its advantage is with strategy games. The larger screen gives you much more room to control everything, making gameplay especially enjoyable. Take a game like Golden Cicada, for example. Even with the graphics and frame rate settings pushed high, the experience remains smooth, with no obvious lag or excessive heating. Now let's talk about the camera, because this is one of the biggest strengths of the X Fold 6. Many foldable phones have to make compromises with their cameras in order to keep the overall body thinner, but that's not really the case here. The 3-camera setup on the rear is quite impressive, even considering the phone's foldable design. You get a 200-megapixel main camera, an ultra-wide-angle camera, and a ZEISS APO telephoto lens. Together, they deliver excellent image quality, plenty of detail, and ZEISS-style color reproduction. Being a foldable phone also gives the X Fold 6 some interesting photography capabilities. Features like hovering photography, waist-level framing, and taking selfies with the rear cameras can be genuinely useful. Once you become familiar with them, they can actually feel more convenient than using a conventional smartphone camera. If you need even more reach for photography, there's also an official teleconverter accessory available, offering an equivalent focal length of 200 millimeters. The downside is that it does come at a fairly high price. The front-facing camera, however, is a different story. It's only 20 megapixels, and the resulting image quality isn't particularly impressive. Photos can sometimes look a little soft or blurry. And as we mentioned earlier, there is a trade-off for having such a capable camera system. The camera module is quite large and sticks out noticeably from the back of the phone. That does have an impact on how the device feels in your hand. Finally, let's talk about battery life and charging. The X Fold 6 comes with a large 7,000 mAh battery, and in real-world use, the endurance is genuinely impressive. Even after around 5 to 6 hours of screen-on time, I still had more than 30% battery remaining. So getting through a full day on a single charge is definitely not an issue. As for charging, the 80-watt wired charging speed is fairly average, while the 40-watt wireless charging feels a little slow. It's still perfectly usable when you need a quick top-up, but it isn't particularly impressive. So overall, the battery life turned out to be a pleasant surprise, while the charging speeds are simply average. And that pretty much covers everything for now. To sum things up, foldable phones have definitely become much more mature, but they're still not perfect. Like any other device, they come with their own strengths and weaknesses. My overall experience with the X Fold 6 is that the camera system is very capable, the battery life is excellent, and the software experience is smooth. At the same time, it doesn't really dominate in any single category, and there are a few smaller compromises to consider. The crease is still noticeable, the buttons don't have the best feel, and the camera module sticks out quite a bit. These are all real drawbacks, but personally, I wouldn't consider any of them deal breakers. So, if you're interested in trying a foldable phone but don't want to sacrifice battery endurance or camera performance, I think the X Fold 6 is worth considering. And if your budget is below 10,000 RMB,
I would recommend looking at the 12GB RAM and 512GB storage configuration or anything above it. In my opinion, the base model is mainly there to compete for price. These days, individual apps can easily take up more than 10 gigabytes of storage, so having more storage is definitely a better choice for long-term use. And that's everything for today's video. If you found this review useful, don't forget to like, save, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.